Welcome to Henry's Band in the Box tutorial compositions. This is volume 3, which I call colors. Colors, those are the sweeteners that you add to your composition. You put the song together, but you think that a few tweaks will further enhance the song. Things like drum accents, interesting passing chords, better Realtracks that enhance the mood, and regenerating those tracks after you demo them for an even better sound. So, have a compilation of 5 tutorials to help you add colors. Starting with drum stems. Next is Chord Builder. How to choose the best Realtracks. How to regenerate those tracks to better fit the mood of the song. And putting it all together, where I took a stab at creating a country song, which is, of course, far out of my genre. But it kind of gives you an idea how everything falls together. Anyway, remember, there are part markers in the video so you can jump directly to the topic that interests you without having to scroll throughout the whole thing, because it is long. Anyway, I hope that volumes 1 and 2 serve you well, and I hope that you enjoy volume 3. Feedback is always welcome, but let's get started.
Well, hello. Get a drummer song. That's right. Today we're going to give the drummer song. Welcome to Henry Clarke's channel. This is Henry Clarke's channel. I try to show you guys how to get that little bit more out of the Band in the Box product. And today we're going to concentrate on extracting drums. And a lot of you guys have always asked, why does the Band in the Box do that, right? Well, I think that when they came up with utility tracks, because you needed those extra tracks, that kind of moved them forward in creating the capability of doing that. So I'm going to show you guys today how you can actually extract the drums in Band in the Box and massage them and kind of shape them however you want it, right? So you know what? So just hang tight. Of course, if you like what I do, always subscribe. I can always use more subscribers like anybody else who does this, right? But just hang tight for a second, and I will be right back, and I will show you guys how you can actually extract drums. Now, again, I don't remember exactly whether it came out in 21 or 22, but definitely in 2022 and 2023 has that capability. It may be in 2021, and I think anything earlier than that, you do not have that capability because you must have utility tracks in order to do that. So again, I will be right back. Let me change my screens up a little bit, and I'm going to show you guys Henry's method of extracting drum stems and using them in an actual song. Okay, so I'll be right back. Hold on. Okay, so I picked a smooth ballad, right? Smooth song just to do this with, show you how this works, right? So again, it's just called Smooth Ballad Piano. I'll let you hear a little bit of it right now. And listen to the drums now. What I want you to just concentrate on the drums, which if I solo it out, you can hear the drums, right? So I thought those drums were okay. They're just okay. But I wanted a little bit different, and I wanted to start the song just a little bit different instead of hitting you in the face with the drums right away. So what I did was I decided, let me go find a drum pattern that I think might be better. So I'm going to go down here to Utility 1. I'm going to go to Utility 1. I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to go Select Drums. So I'm going to select some drums here, right? And I'm going to choose real drums. Now, here's the key. This is the most important thing here. Notice in this column here that says stems. Notice that. This stems mean how many individual tracks of the drums they have recorded. And if you have a 0, then obviously they don't have any stems extracted. If they have 4, they have some. I decided to pick a drum set that has 8 stems. And again, you must have stems loaded. So if you have stems, I decided to pick this Modern Pop Ballad 16th. When I picked the 16th, notice it has 8 stems. The thing says 8 stems, right? So if I open that up, it will show me what those 8 stems are comprised of. Those 8 stems means, I've got a snare, I've got an overhead, I've got the mix of that's the entire drum set, the snare bottom, the room, the kicking, the hi-hat, the kick cut, and the toms. Now, this is really important. I know. Back when I made my first single, which was a long time ago, right? And we went to the studio. I was in a singing group, right? And they spent the whole half of the first day just on the drums. I was so mad, man. I was like, get me out of here, right? But I get it. They spent a lot of times in studios and working with drums, microphones, things like that. So I know a lot of people say they want to take and kind of create the drum atmosphere themselves with their EQs and their reverbs and things like that. You know what? That's hard though, man. I'm telling you, Band in a Box, they have done a great job in creating a drum set feel, a drum set ambience that is very difficult for you to do individually. But if you want to do that, that's fine. So anyway, Modern Pop Ballad 16th has 8 different sets of stems, and these are the stems: snare, overhead, mix, snare bottom, room, kicking, hi-hat, kick out, and toms. And of course, the overhead just means the mics that are overhead that are recorded, right? The room is the overall room ambience. So what I'm going to do, and I'll just play it, let's hear what it sounds like. And I'll just solo the drums. I just love the hi-hat now one. Actually, it's a pretty good pattern. anyway, so I'm going to select, I'm going to take all of the stems. Now, normally I wouldn't do this. Normally what I would do is I probably would grab maybe just the mix, which is the entire drum set, maybe the kick, maybe the snare, and maybe the hi-hat. I would probably grab those. But in this case, just for training purposes, right, I'm going to just grab them all, right? So when I selected, notice that they all had a check mark beside them. When I do that and I click OK, they are going to actually load on the utility tracks. So just think, this is taking 8 utility tracks by itself. I'm going to click OK. Notice what happened to the mixer here. You will see, let me see if I can extract this mixer here. I forgot how to do this. There we go. So notice they took all of the tracks, the drums, and they extracted them out. So I have them all sitting out here now, all 8 of the drums. Well, now if I go back, and this is what I have. Notice it's pretty crowded in there, right? So what I'm going to do now is, just to hear what that drum sounds like, I am going to mute my original drum set. I'm going to leave the mix in, and I'm going to mute all of the rest of the individual stems that came in, just to kind of give me an idea of what it's going to sound like. And this is what it's going to sound like now with the new drum set in the mix and the same pattern. See, I like that, because I like that busy hi-hat. I'm just a big fan of that. Now, if I take the mix off, obviously I won't have any drums, but if I take the mix off and I bring the kicks, I'm going to put the kick in, the snare drum, the hi-hat, the toms, the overhead, the room. I'm bringing all of those back, and these are the individual drums that you will hear playing. And notice the individual stems are playing. My kick is playing, kick out's playing, snare's playing, snare bottom's playing, hi-hat's really low, but it's playing. So I have my individual stems now. Now I can take those and I can move them over into my DAW by doing audio export. If you guys saw one of my earlier videos, you can see how to do that, right? And which is probably the preferred method of me doing this, is to take it and do it that way. However, just to give you guys an example of how to do it within the console itself, which again is not my preferred method, but I'll show you how to do it, right? Is that because, in my opinion, I may take and just use the kick on a separate track, and maybe the snare, and maybe the hi-hat, and for all the other drums I'll just use the mix, because I want that ambience, so I won't necessarily worry about all of those other drums. So I'll just take those, and I probably got the drums up high in the mix because I want you to hear them a little bit better. So what I'm going to do in order to do that, I need to go to audio edit, which is right here. So when I go to audio edit, I get to pick. So notice that the kick drum is sitting here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the kick drum start the song, and I'm going to have the kick drum play throughout bar 21. Baby, yeah, 21's good. That's fine. And then I'll have the rest of the drums coming in at bar 21. So the kick in bar 21, I'm going to take and set a node here. And I'm going to set another node right beside it. And I'm going to take and I'm going to have that play all the way up to bar 21. And then I'm going to drop the kick drum out the rest of the way. I'm going to do the same thing. That's kick in. Kick out, I'm going to do the same thing as I'm going to go here, kick, select my instrument, which is kick out. My bar is already set, bar 21. Set another node. And I'm going to volume automate my kick out. So I don't want my kick out to play either. I'm also going to go and my snare. I figure my snare, I think I'll bring my snare in at 21. I'll bring my snare in at bar 13 would probably be good. So I'm going to bring my snare in at bar 13. So at bar 13, I'm going to bring my snare in, which means my snare will not play until it gets to bar 13. Bring my snare in at bar 13, and I'm going to take my snare out at bar 21. And the reason why, again, is because I'm going to use the rest of the drum set going forward. Same thing as my snare bottom. I'm going to take my snare bottom. No, maybe I'm going to bring my snare at bar 9. That's even better. Bring my snare in at bar 9 and take it out at bar 21. My hi-hat, 13 is good for my hi-hat. So I'm going to bring my hi-hat in at bar 13, and I'm going to take it out again at bar 21. Now, like I said, I'm not going to use the toms, the overhead, the room. So I'm just going to go and mute them right now. I don't want them there because I'm going to use a full drum set. So now for my full drum set, which is the mixed one, I'm going to mute that entire drum set until I get to bar 21. So I'm going to take and put a node here and another node, and I'm going to take my drum set all the way down to 0. So now my drum set is not going to come in until bar 21. And it'll play it throughout the rest of the song. Now, I hope you got that now, okay? So again, I set audio automation. You could do this in your DAW if you wanted to, but this is just another way of doing it, right? So I've taken the mixed drum set, and I've decided not to have it play until I get to bar 21. Meanwhile, at bar 21, the individual kick is going to be gone, the individual snare is going to be gone, and the individual hi-hat is going to be gone at that bar. Listen to how it sounds. There's my kick, and notice it's only my kick. Just kick. Light snare. And that's that hi-hat. I love that hi-hat. And if you look over here, you will see those individual stems playing. Notice they're gone now, and I'm listening to my mixed drum set now. Now, I know I probably got it, like I said, I got the drums hot, but that's because I wanted you to hear how they sound and going through this, right? So again, this is how you can actually extract the different drum sets. You have to find a drum set that has individual stems. So again, when you go and you pick your drums, and I can do it on any utility track, and I can choose my drums. And when I choose my drums, the column here that says number of stems they have is really important. I noticed that some of them even have 9 and 10 stems to them. You've got as high as 12 stems. Man, that's a lot of stuff, right, that you got. And remember, the stems will always go to the utility tracks. Now, like I said, in my particular preference, I would rather just take the stems, move them over into my DAW through audio export, and kind of massage them and figure out when I want them to come in and when I don't want them to come in, right? Versus, you saw what I had to do with the audio edit window. I had to do quite a few more changes, right? But again, this is an interesting song. It's just something that I just found, a pattern I found. I thought I'd play around with it a little bit. And just to give you guys an example of what you can do, right? I'm sorry, all the time got me a little thirsty, drink a little coffee. Is that what I did was I went and I found a little interesting pattern that I thought I'd bring in around bar 21, right? So again, I'm going to utility 10, and I'm going to select, and this is going to be interesting, right? So I'm going to select some Realtracks. So let me see. Matter of fact, I'm going to select some of my I'm going to just select a favorite. So I'm going to select Realtracks, and I'm going to select some recently chosen, right? And I'm going to select this doo-wop, which I don't know how. I think it's going to come out pretty good, right? So I selected doo-wop, and then I selected some oohs and ahs to go under that at this bar. So again, I've got some. Let me see my vocal oohs and ahs. I got some shit. There we go. I'm trying to find my background oohs and ahs. That's a doo-wop. There we go. And I got some oohs here, right? So I thought I'd throw that in there just to give it a little bit different, a different feel. So now when I go back, I'm going to just regenerate, and you will hear the oohs, the ahs, the kick, the whole 9 yards, all in was one great go, right? There's my kick. And by the way, just so you know, this has been kind of finicky. Sometimes it hasn't worked like it should. I don't know whether it needs a patch, but it's been just a bit inconsistent. I'm talking about doing it through through the audio edit window. And if I wanted to, I could bring the snare volume up if I wanted to do that. I like that beat a lot, actually. Listen to that. That's a doo-wop vocal. So that's it. Again, I showed you guys how you can take a drum set, find a drum set with stems. Again, find a drum set. I'll just do this, like choose real drums. Find a drum set with stems. Extract those stems into your DAW. Extract those stems into your Band in the Box console. They always come on your utility tracks, right? Move them over, and you can massage them accordingly, however you see fit. Like I said, I did it through the audio edit window, but if I was really doing this song, I would do this through my DAW, because to me it's just much easier to cut waveforms and kind of mix and match them. And also, again, I didn't feel the need to take individual tom-toms and overhead and room, but again, was my choice. You may want to do that. I just felt like if I use it when I extract a part, it's really usually the bass drum that I'm after, the kick, or usually it's the snare or the hi-hat that I'm after. So I try to use those three components in order to do this. Again, hope this helps you guys. So again, if you have any questions, also just type them in the question marks in the console, right? And again, I thought the program was a little bit finicky as far as the audio edit goes, but all in all, I think it worked really, really well. And I think it gives you a new capability when using the Band in the Box product, okay? I'll see you guys next time, and have a great day, okay? Bye-bye.
Next chord, please. Using the Chord Builder in Band in the Box. Welcome to Next Chord, please. Using the Chord Builder in Band in the Box. And in this tutorial, I dive into the Chord Builder feature of Band in the Box. And it's a must-have tool for musicians and songwriters. Whether you're a beginner or experienced user, the video will guide you through step-by-step instructions on how to effectively use the Chord Builder to enhance your music compositions. I needed it, you know. Let me give you my background, okay? Just for a second. I started doing music as a kid back in the neighborhood, right? Back in the day, everybody did Temptations and the Miracles and all that kind of stuff, right? And you just had to be in a singing group, right? And nobody had a clue about chord progressions. We couldn't even read music. But man, we could harmonize. I'm telling you, we were all singers and we could come up with some great, great harmonies. I have no idea what I was doing. But we also had that in a sense where you better get your note right. And if you didn't, the guys would let you know. I'm telling you, they were brutal. No feelings spared.
The groups that we had that we grew up with in Detroit as teenagers, if you could not do harmony on key, you were lousy, and they would tell you, get the hell out of here and get off the corner.
Which is good training ground, by the way, because I think we need somebody that's tough on us every now and then, right? But like most singers, I moved on, joining cover bands and singing a few originals. And again, no one gave me chord charts or anything. They didn't give it to the singers. It was up to the singers to sing on key and make the melody shine. And I honestly can't ever remember being in a band where they gave the singers chord charts or melody charts or anything like that. It just didn't happen. So, coming full circle, I could read music on a basic level, but I never really practiced it because I was a singer all the time. And this is where the band-in-a-box chord builder would come in handy and really shine. And by the way, guys, this band-in-a-box product, man, I don't know, they got so many features under the hood. It's just amazing how they could get all that stuff in one single program, you know, but that's another story. You're here for Chord Builder. So, let me change my screen, and I'll show you how to create chord progressions using Chord Builder. And by the end of this video, you'll have the skills and the knowledge to create good chord progressions for your own songs. So hold tight. All right, so I picked a pattern, and the pattern is Fab Dave's famous uplifting pop. You know, the band-in-a-box got these crazy names of their songs, right? You know. Anyway, sounds like this. Which, a little boring, but we're gonna make it work, right? You know, and it's in the key of C. First thing I always do is I always set the bar to like 60. I usually do 80, but this time I'll do 60. So I set the bar to 60 to make the song a little longer. Now, I had a song, and I actually wrote this song. It was a kind of a pop song, right? You know, and actually it was totally pop, you know. I just wanna know, can I get you going my way? But I said, let me try it with Chord Builder and see if I can make it a little more interesting. So I wrote this song and I changed it up a little bit, right? And the song goes like this. I've been standing here waiting for a sign. The way you look at me is messing with my mind. Do you feel it too? Is it just a game? Or could we take a chance and light this flame? So the song is called, you know, Are You Going My Way? But anyway, make a long story short. So I need to put some chords to this thing to give it some life. So I've got my little melody and me little gray cells, right? And I need to transfer this to a chord progression. So it's in C. So I'm going to open Chord Builder. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to open Chord Builder. And look at this. Wow, it just tons and tons of little chords there for you, right? Anyway, now the blue chords are the natural progression. So, which is really what I want. That way I know what the chord's going to sound like when I go next. So that's really, really important. The yellow chords are possible chords. They're different types of chords, and they say that, you know, it could possibly fit. It's just another variation. And the other thing I want to point out to you is that In this particular case, notice all these chords are 7th. It's because the jazz box is checked off. You don't have to have that checked off. You can make the song just basic. If I click jazz off, right, you're going to see, notice it goes C, D minor, E minor, F. But as soon as I click jazz, all these 7ths appear. Now, we're gonna be a little adventurous, right? And we're gonna actually put some 7ths in there. We're gonna do that. So we're gonna use the jazz progression. So again, the first thing we want to do is we want to build the song out. So I'm going to build out just a short intro. I'll take it through the hook, right? So this is what's neat. Chord Builder, if you highlight the chord will play. So what happens is that then you can hear what the next chord is going to sound like when you choose it. So it just locks it right in for you. So now you get an idea of what it sounds like. You don't need to necessarily worry about the name of the chord, just what it sounds like when you're putting the song together. So again, I'm going to use C major first. That's C major 7th, right? So again, I need another chord to go with the C major 7th. So I go to the second bar, and this is basic, okay? So I'm going to probably just do one chord per bar, just to get you an idea of how it works, right? So what goes with that C major 7th that I think I may like in that song? I can audition these. So I'll go C major 7th, E minor 7th. Oh, okay, that's not too bad. Go back to C major 7th and play. No, I don't like the way that sounds. C major 7th, A minor 7th. Maybe not, maybe C major 7th, D minor 7th. I like that. C minor 7th. I'm sorry, C major 7th to D minor 7th. I like that. So I'm going to stick with that. So now I've got my first 2 bars. My third bar, and this is just intro. So my third bar, I'm coming off of the D minor 7th. So what goes with that? It's showing me that C major 7th, E minor 7th, F major 7th, G7, or A minor 7th goes with that D minor 7th. So I need to pick something I think I want for my third chord. So I'm going to play the D minor 7th and audition. That's not bad. Nah. I like that. So I'm going to go with the G7. And again, this is what I like. You may not like it at all. You may choose something else, but this is what I like. So I'm going to go with the G7. So bar 4, I'm move over to bar 4. And what do I want in bar 4? Remember, this is the intro, so it's going to take me back around to the beginning of the song where I start actually singing the verse. So because of that, I don't want to stray too far off of that because I got to get back to that C major 7th that I start the song in. So I'll just put a C major 7th in here. And my intro is done. So that's my intro. So now it's time to work on the verse. Notice my intro is C major 7th, D minor 7th, G7, and C major 7th. 1 chord per bar. So now I need to work on my song. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a part marker in here because I need to know where I am at all times. I know some people say, it automatically does drum rolls and all that stuff. No, it doesn't. You can turn those off, but I think the most important thing about a part marker is that it lets you know where you are in the song. So now I'm starting my verse. Like I said, I've been standing here waiting for a sign. So that's where I'm at. So I'm going to go back and start with my C major 7th. Now I'm going to go to the second bar. I'm working on the first verse. So I'm going to do my D minor 7th again. I'm going to my third verse, and I'm going to do my G7 again. I could have actually cut and pasted, but I want you to get used to understanding how to put it in individually. And I'm going to go to my C major 7th. That's the first half of the first verse, right? Again, duplicate again. C major 7th, D minor 7th, G7, C major 7th. And now remember, I'm trying to keep this simple. We can try all these other chords out, but for right now, for practical training purposes, right, I'm going to stick with this method here. So now my pre-chorus is coming up. I've done my verse. Now I need to do my 8-bar pre-chorus, right? So my pre-chorus starts at bar 13. Well, I can't do the same thing that I did for my verse. So I got to come up with something a little bit different for my pre-chorus. So I'm going to try go C major 7th, the D minor 7th still works. So I'm going to start my pre-chorus with D minor 7th. Now, what goes with D minor 7? I can go, for the second bar, I can go D minor 7th. I don't want to go back there. Now, D minor 7th, A minor 7th. Now, all right, it's not bad. D minor 7th and F major 7th. I like that. D minor 7th to F major 7th. I like that. For my third bar, I'll go from F major 7th. And what chords work with F major 7th? F major 7th, not terrible. I like that A minor 7th. So I'm going from F major 7th to A minor 7th. And then to finish that bar out, which is the first half of the pre-chorus. So I'm doing A minor 7th. Need to find something to go with that. That doesn't work. All I'm doing, I'm just clicking on the actual chords. Nah, that doesn't work. I like that E minor 7th, so I'm gonna go to that E minor 7th. So that's the first half of the pre-chorus. And I'm going to repeat that. Like I said, I'm talking basic here, right? We could get a whole lot more complicated, and we can do that, but not in this video because it would take forever. So D minor 7th, F major 7th, A minor 7th, and E minor 7th. Now, I've done my pre-chorus, which means I'm at my hook. How do I want my hook to go? My hook is going to go pretty much like my verse is going to go. That's kind of a standard thing with most songs, to be honest with you. They don't change that much. Maybe the odd chord will change, but pretty much they don't really change a lot. So I'm going to start my hook with my standard C major 7th, the old favorite, right? And I'm going to put the second chord in the second bar at D minor 7th. But I think I want something a little bit different for the third bar because I'm in the hook now. I'm not in the verse anymore. I'm in the hook now, right? So I'm coming off of D minor 7th. And no. Oh, no, I don't like that at all. I like the A minor 7th. So I think I'm going to do the A minor 7th. And I'm going to go back in the fourth bar and take it to C because I'm going to go back to the rest of my hook. So the rest of my hook, I'm going to start C major 7th. Second bar is going to be D minor 7th. The third bar is going to be A minor 7th. No, I don't like that. The second bar, that sounds too ordinary to me. So I'm going to try D minor 7th. I like that. So I'm going to D minor 7th to G7 in the second bar of the hook, and then let it take me to C major 7th. I like that. So that's the song, and I'll just do a quick 4 bars of C major 7th is like an interlude before I get back into the song again. So how does this sound now? Like, let's play it and see what it sounds like. Kind of like it, actually. I'm standing here waiting for a sign. The way you look at me is messing with my mind. Make me feel it too. Is it just a game, or could we take a chance and light this flame? You've got the spark that pulls me in. I can't resist it where I've been. I'm ready now, so tell me, girl, I just need to know. Can I get you going my way? We can turn this night into the day. Baby, we don't need to hesitate. One step closer, what can you say? Kind of like that. Anyway, that's the song. But I thought it was a little boring in a couple of places. So guess what I'm going to do? So coming out of the verse, I'm going to the pre-chorus. I thought that maybe I could add a passing chord coming out of the verse. So I'm going to go to my C major 7th and see if I can add something extra. So I'm going to go to my chord builder. And I've got the C major 7th in the last bar of the first verse prior to going to the pre-chorus, right? And the pre-chorus is D minor 7th. But what might work in that second half of that bar is, I think I'll try something else. So I'm going to go from C major 7th to E minor 7th. So let's try that, just to add a different color. So now if I do it, yeah, I like that. It's just enough of a difference to make it feel a little bit better, right? And again, I could actually experiment by going, maybe let's just pick an off-color chord, right? You know, one of these variations here. So again, we have our basic chords here. So I'm coming off of that C major 7th. So let's try F minor 6. Oh, that sounds really good. So let's try that. So I'll do it again. Like that a whole lot better, you know. And this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about experimenting. Experiment, see what you can come up with, right? And you'd be surprised sometimes at how it can actually make a difference. But again, it's nice to have a passing chord in there, right? Same thing as I'm coming out of my pre-chorus. And remember, I'm going to the hook, which that's okay. But maybe I could add another passing chord in the last bar, you know. So maybe if I'm in the E minor 7th, so I open up Chord Builder again. I'm in the E minor 7th, and I'm gonna try. Let's try E minor 7th. No, E minor 7th. Let's try this B flat 7th. See what it sounds like. I don't know. That may not sound good. Let's try it though. We'll see what it sounds like. And if it doesn't sound good, we just take it out. It's really that easy. Bad either. See, I like that. And that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about experimentation. So again, I'm not going to take you through the whole song, right? We built out the song through the actual hook, and you can just, you know, we can just copy and paste and repeat the rest of the song. But this goes to show you the power of Chord Builder. So I took a song, I set it up in the key of C. And again, it's in C now, right? Maybe I can't sing it in C. Maybe I need to change it, right? Okay, I just go and I just change the key. And all the chords will change appropriately. So see, that's not a big deal. The main thing is that I've got a pattern that I like, and I can play with it. I can figure out, maybe I don't like the D minor 7th. Maybe I need to change it around. All I do is right click, I open up Chord Builder, and it gives me all the recommended chords and the variations on those chords for what I might want to do. So again, I can take and I can choose these variations and come up with some unusual stuff, I put it like that, or unexpected chords, you know. And of course, as you get more familiar, you will probably do a bit more of that again. So that's how, and again, it just goes to show you these little settings here, right? This is Chord Builder. This part is Progression Builder. I'm in the key of C. I have picked jazz chords instead of the standard chords. I picked jazz chords, which is a lot of 7ths. Enter the chord when clicked, which means if I click on this chord, and if I'm on a bar and I click on this chord, it's going to enter that chord in the chord sheet. And I wanted to show all the possible variations. The orange chords, as it says, are highlighted chords. They are less common, but they're interesting. And if you want to use one of them, just select it and just throw it in there and see how it goes. That's Chord Builder for you in a nutshell. Of course, there's much more to it, but at a basic level, that's how you can actually build a song with Chord Builder. Hey gang, I have over 5,000 Realtracks in my band-in-a-box system, and sometimes it gets totally overwhelming how to select the particular Realtracks that I want to use. So what I'm going to show you today is I'm going to show you how you can streamline the process some, so you don't have to go through so many changes and searching and searching and searching to try to find the Realtracks that you might be looking for based on style and based on genre. So hold on one second and let's just go on over to the console and I will show you guys that. And also remember, this is Henry Clarke's channel, Senior Musicians Unite. I'm always trying to help senior musicians create great music because you guys really create great music. And I just try to take you guys and show you guys how you can take it a step a little bit further. So let's go on over to the Band-in-a-Box console and I'm going to show you how Henry selects Realtracks with 80% less frustration. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, so I've got my typical Band-in-a-Box session up, right? And the song I'm going to do is one of it was my mom's favorite, right? You know, Tell It Like It Is, right? If you want someone to play with, go and find yourself a toy. So that's the song I'm going to use. And I found it, and this is perfect for this whole Realtrack simulation because the song is actually a blues song and it's in 12/8. So I use a style of 12/8 for the song. Goes like this. That's that, you know. That's perfect, right? But if you want to add some tracks to this, right, it's a 12/8 style. So instead of me searching all over the place, trying to add some extra Realtracks, and if you look here, you will see the style only came with a bass, drums, guitar one, and in other words, 2 guitars. That's all it came with, right? So this song needs an organ. This song definitely needs an organ, right? So I'm going to go. I think I'm going to go put the organ on a utility track. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put the organ on a melody track. Because you can put anything on a track, actually, if you, to be honest with you, you know. But anyway, I'm gonna put it on the melody track. So I'm going to right-click here, and I'm going to go to Select Realtracks, and this is the trick right here. The style is 12/8. So what I want to do is I want to select the best all Realtracks, or the best chorded tracks, or the best soloist tracks. I'm not gonna get into my tracks for favorites, that's another story. But if you look at that, it just will cut the menu down tremendously, right? Well, if it's an organ, I probably want it chording because I don't want it playing soloing, right? So I probably want it chording. So I'm gonna select best chording Realtracks, and I'm gonna click on that. That's gonna open up, so it says the best Realtracks for this style in 12/8 are listed below. Now, as I go through this, right, I need to filter this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter this. Actually, I'm not even going to filter because it's already set up. So I'm going to look through my organs, right? I'm just actually I will filter. I'll go up to the filter string and I'm just going to type in organ. And then now it's showing me the best tracks for that particular style. And if you notice, I've got my nice little organ up here. It's I'm going to use the B3. I think the B3 will probably be pretty good. And notice it also tells me these organs down here don't match the overall feel that I'm trying to do. And it gets even better, and it says the genre of music down here doesn't match. So I don't even mess with those. So again, so I have already cut down how many Realtracks I actually am going to go through, right? So I wanted an organ. Instead of me going through 1,000 organs, right? The song is in 12/8. I'm looking for tracks in the current style, and I will try this organ right here because I like that B3 sound. And I will demo it just to listen to it by going to the green button here and just listen to it. I think it's perfect for me. So I'm going to generate this. So I generate. And my organ is here. Check it out. That's perfect because I wanted more music in here, right? So that's organ. Notice, what did I do again? I went to organ. I'm sorry, I went to melody. I looked at the Realtrack icon. I selected best chording Realtracks. Best chording Realtracks. That's what I wanted. And that, again, that cuts the number of tracks I have to go through considerably. And it also did it for the time signature of 12/8. If you look over here, you'll see the time signature of 12/8. So it's a fantastic match. Saved me hours and hours of going and demoing, this Realtrack and that Realtrack to see what's best, so on and so forth, right? So yeah, so I have that. Now, this song had a bluesy feel to it, right? So I want a piano, but I want a piano that's probably got a lot of trills in it, right? So I'm going to pick a piano that does that. I'm going to hit the piano. I'm going to right-click on piano. I'm going to select Realtracks, and I'm going to select, this time, the best soloist tracks. The best soloist tracks. When I open that up, it's showing me best tracks for current style, best tracks in this particular style that are soloist tracks. That is exactly what I am looking for. So as I go through this, right, and I think that the best soloist tracks would be this Texas Blues piano, it's acoustic soloist piano, 1920. I will select that. I will play it. You hear those trills? That's what I want. I want that bluesy feel in there, so I'm going to generate that. And now I'm going to get that. When it is generating. I think it's so perfect. I really do. Now, of course, I wouldn't use that all the way through, right? I would go do my bar settings. You guys have seen me do things with bar settings. I'm not going to take you through that. It makes the video so much longer. But as you notice, right, so I went and I found a chording one. I found a soloist Realtrack. And again, when I did that, those Realtracks matched the style of 12/8. Very, very important. And it cut my window down of number of tracks I have to go through 100-fold, especially when, like I said, when you got 5,000 Realtracks that you want to go through, right? This helps you out a whole lot. And the last one I'll do, and I thought it might be nice to put a little harmonica in here, right? So I'm going to go here to utility. I've got to put that on the utility track. Utility track, select Realtracks, and I'm just going to pick a Realtrack, and again, it shows the best Realtracks for this particular style. In this case, I'm going to put in harmonica, and I'll see what I get. So for my harmonica, I'll do, this looks like a good soloist harmonica, and I'll play it. That's perfect. That would be a great solo passage for this song, right? If you want to extend the song out, right? Come off the second verse, second hook, right? And put this harmonica in there, or maybe mix it between the harmonica and the soloist piano, right? That's what I'm talking about. So again, what I did was I showed you guys a quick way of selecting Realtracks, not by going through a huge Realtrack menu, but by right-clicking, going to select Realtracks, and looking at the options for all Realtracks, chording or soloist. That to me is so key. Now sometimes though, you could actually try a Realtrack against against a pattern, and it may work, it may not work against against a different time signature. Some of them do work pretty good, some of them don't work as well because it doesn't give you everything, right? Like if I go for select recording Realtracks, right, and you look here, let me take this. I'm gonna take this harmonica off, and it shows all, and you'll see it's showing me basses, it's showing me guitars, pianos, organs. It's showing me as I go through all of this stuff is supposed to be compatible with this particular style. And when it doesn't, when it's not compatible, it will show you that. It shows you that. See, notice it shows you here, genre doesn't match. Even though it may say the genre doesn't match, sometimes you can actually make it work. You can play it and make it work. And this one says the genre and the swing and the feel don't match. That one I pretty much would probably stay away from because that's probably not going to come out very well. But for genre doesn't match, you can try it sometimes. Like if I want some strings or something, right, I'll type in strings. And notice it says the strings, it's the even feel doesn't match. Here it says the genre doesn't match. Even though the genre doesn't match, sometimes I'll try it anyways. I would try the string pad, which is just kind of a pad, right? It's just a chording pad. So I'll try that and see what I get. See, it works. So even though it's not really made for that genre, it does match. You can try that, like I said, but what you want to do first is you want to stick with what the system tells you will work within a given genre. That will speed up your creation 10 times faster. And also, it also helps you fill the song out a bit better. Again, when I started the song, it only gave me a bass, drums, and 2 guitars. And now I have bass, drums, piano, organ, strings, and harmonica, which gives me a much fuller sound. No, they don't all play at the same time, but it gives me a much fuller sound. So I hope this helps you guys. I know I had some people that were asking me, so actually some people were even asking me, how do you add a real track? First of all, number one is you can add a real track to any of the tracks, whether it's the top 7 or whether it's the utility. You can add a real track to any track, and it is really pretty simple. You right click on that track, you go to select real tracks, and you just hit select real tracks. Like I said, I prefer to do it based on the style that I have already chosen. So I'm looking at chording and soloists and real tracks, and sometimes I have real tracks as favorites. But again, that just makes it faster and it cuts the list down tremendously, right? But it's just that simple. You select your chording track, whatever instrument you want to use. Always don't forget to clear the filter string and just have it show all because of what you might be looking for, right? And it shows you all the instruments. You just highlight that instrument and you do OK and you generate, and that will become a real track in your overall composition. Again, hope this helps you guys. If you have any questions, please contact me, right? Again, now I don't do systems. If your system's screwed up or if your real track settings are screwed up, and sometimes I notice that people will say that their real track settings are not showing up or whatever, there's an option here in the real track window. I'm going to just select a real track. And I'm waiting for the real track menu to show up. Okay, come on, it's trying to show up. Get a little faster, a little faster, a little faster. Here it is. And anyway, so there's an option here where sometimes you may have to do a rebuild and fix. If you don't see all of your real tracks, so if you go, some of my real tracks are missing, right? There's an option of rebuild and fix, and it will actually rebuild your real track setup. And also, this was interesting. I didn't know this. If you look over here, let me move this window over here. If you look over here, notice it's got a show real tracks that are NA. I didn't know what that was, but it says this will show real tracks that you do not have installed yet or that you haven't purchased. It's kind of weird. I don't know why it would show me real tracks that I haven't purchased. But if that's checked off, it will show you real tracks that you have not installed or haven't purchased, which means that if you select one of those tracks, nothing's going to happen. So if you have this checked off and you select a real track that you haven't installed or you haven't purchased, right, it's not going to come up. And I know sometimes you may be going, what is wrong with my system? I selected the Realtrack and it's not coming up. It's not coming up because you haven't purchased it. So, and it's kind of funny that they kind of buried this in there, right? So it's not exactly obvious to everybody, because a lot of people would do that and they think that something is wrong with their system. Well, nothing is wrong with your system. You just haven't either purchased that Realtrack or you have not installed that Realtrack. Yeah. Hope this helps, and I will see you guys later. Again, my channel is Senior Musicians Unite. My name is Henry Clarke, and keep making great music, keep composing, and keep having fun at what you're doing. I will talk to you guys later. Bye. And welcome to Henry Clarke's channel. This is Henry Clarke's channel, Senior Musicians Unite. Senior Musicians Unite, right? Today I've got a band in a box tip for you all, especially if you're on 2024. So this is about regeneration, or making anew, right? And you could do that in previous versions, and they had a function called multi-riff, right? And I tried it. I thought it was a little kludgy. I thought it took too long to try to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. Some people liked it. I wasn't a huge fan of it. But what they did in 2024 is they put it in a window where I can do this thing with like the odd 1 or 2 mouse click. I was so happy about that, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a pattern really quick. And I'm just going to grab a pattern, and I'm just going to do this joint relaxed soul. I'll play the demo for you. Here what it is. This is what it sounds like. So I thought it'd be nice to put a solo guitar against it, right? So I'm gonna load the demos for that style. And once it's loaded out, here it is in Band in a Box. Now again, I'm not big on repeats, any type of bar settings whatsoever, so I'll just take it out. But this is what it sounds like. So that's the basics of the song right there, right? Now, if I want to do a multi-riff, I can go to the multi-riff tab, and it'll open up, and look at that thing, man. Look at that thing. Main track, number of bars, generate new, is riff different, all that kind of stuff, right? It is way too much for me to even deal with. I don't want to deal with all of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a solo instrument and put it on a utility track. So the solo instrument, I'm just going to I'll just use utility 3. I'm going to left click on utility 3. I'm going to right click. I'm going to select a Realtrack, and I'll just pick one I've already used before. Recently chosen, and I'm going to use this electric soloist guitar. So now I'm going to play that electric soloist guitar. It's okay. Which is cool. This is perfect for regeneration because I may not like the way it actually played, and I can change it. I may like the sound of the guitar, but I may not be crazy about the way it plays. One of the good practice to have it when you add something like that is go to your mixer window here, right click, go down to track settings, and rename the track title. I'm using this as a solo guitar, so I'm going to rename it Solo Guitar. And I'll just click OK. So now I don't have trouble finding it again. Now it's called Solo Guitar. So now, what do I want to do is, again, I didn't like the way that played. Kind of boring. Actually, I kind of don't like it. But anyway, I could go and do the multi-riff thing and bring up this huge screen with all these options. Or I can go to Window here. Remember, this is 2024 now. I can go to Window. I can go to Tracks Window. It's going to give me this DAW type layout. Look at this DAW type layout in 2024, right? I'll scroll down the side until I get to my solo guitar. And if you look over here, there's my solo guitar. So now, like I said, I wanted to change how that sounded because I didn't like the way it sounded, right? Or I thought it could be improved. So I'm going to go to the bar. It starts from bar 1. I'm going to go to the bar, and I'm going to shade this area. I got to go to the track itself. And I'm going to shade this area in. So let's just do the first 8 bars. I'll go up to bar 9, and I'm going to play it for you. So that's what the solo sounds like right now, right? And I'm I'm going, okay, maybe there's a better solo in here, right? Now, one of the things about Band in the Box Realtracks is that they have I think they have 7 variations, and I think in multi-riff you could do like 20 different patterns, but they have like 7 variations of the way this is played. So, I'm going to go to the solo track itself. Now, remember this, I have this shaded out, so I want it to affect, whatever I do, I only want it to affect the first 8 bars. So now I'm going to go hit my down arrow, which is here. And I'm going to select track actions, and I'm going to say regenerate the part that's in the window. So I'm only regenerating this part that's the dark, the gray shaded part, just that part of the song. I'm sorry, just that part of the solo. So now when I hit regenerate, notice it's playing it differently, isn't it? And suppose I didn't like that. I can go back again. I can go down arrow, track actions, regenerate parts on the selected region, which is the gray region down here. And it's going to play it differently again. I like that better. So I would keep that particular portion right there, right? But instead, this is so much easier instead of me doing that, instead of me going to let me pull it up if it comes up here. I would have to go through all of this in order to do that. Generate new, set the bars, the whole 9 yards. I would have to do all of that versus just going here, shading this section of the bars I want to affect, and going from there. And I can move down further if I heard the part at bar, say 16 through 20, I could go down here to 16 through 20, highlight the portion again, and change it again. And I can do this on any of the Realtracks also. So I think this is a really, really neat way of regenerating solos instead of having to go into bar settings and trying to set it up in the whole 9 yards. So I hope you like that. So again, I'm going to come back out. I'm going to close this window. I don't need this window now. And this is my normal tracks window. And if I play it now, notice it says solo guitar, and if I play it now, it's got my new solo in there. Isn't that neat? I think that's really, really neat that you can do that. And what is it? I went through 2 menus and very few options versus going out and exploiting a ton of options. And don't get me wrong now, obviously Band in the Box has tons and tons of options embedded inside of their menus, but sometimes those options can truly become overwhelming. As you move through and you gain more knowledge, of course, yes, you can use them more efficiently, but some of us just want to get started and get off and running. And I found that this regeneration tool, by doing it by bar and by track window in 2024, is an absolute gem. I created a country song. Can you believe that? Check it out. Let's see a little snippet of it. Sunshine, blue skies, got me thinking of you. Every time the day is right, I feel you shining through. Now, I know a lot of you guys, especially you Band in the Box guys, go, that's no big deal. I do country all the time. Yes, but I don't. I'm a old soul guy. I'm a EDM club guy. So for me to do any type of country is a stretch. So how did I do that? Band in the Box. So I went to Band in the Box and I found a song, or in the song section, with contemporary country songs. And I took one of those and I modified it, changed it, wrote lyrics, the whole 9 yards, sang it. And I actually ended up creating a contemporary country song, which I'm really happy about because that's not something that I usually do. So hang with me and I'll show you guys how Henry made a contemporary country song using Band in the Box and songs from Band in the Box. Let me change the screen up and I'll be right back. Hold on. Okay, so I needed to start with something. So I decided I need to find a song, not a style, but a song that I can use as my basis. So I went to songs, not style, but songs, and I opened Song Picker. And an entire menu comes up with different songs. Now, I've had Band in the Box for a long time. So because of that, I've got a ton of stuff in here, right? But notice it's got artist performance sets and just different songs that Band in the Box created for you, for your reference. Actually, it's good for your reference. So what I decided is that I didn't want to do any artist performance set that had a vocal. So scratch that right off the bat. And the reason why is because I was going to create my own melody, my own background vocals, and write my own lyrics. So any artist performance set that had vocals in it, I ignored that. Now, and notice you hear songs with vocals here, right? I ignored all of those. Of course, I didn't want to do a Celtic flute because I'm doing country. So you scroll and I've got a ton of these, right? Didn't want to do fiddle. I definitely didn't want to do fiddle. So I found Brent Mason, Mr. PG Music, right? Because they've been using them for years, you know? So I go, okay, here's Brent Mason here. And over here, he had a song that was crossover country. And I went, crossover country. That sounds kind of interesting to me. So I played crossover country. And I heard that and I was instantly hooked. I said, okay, I like it. I hate the banjo, but I really like this song. I like this guitar and everything. Now again, this was an artist performance set. And because of that, this artist performance set was that lead guitar you hear. And that is not a real track, that is a WAV file, which affects when you try to manipulate the song later. But I thought that was really what I wanted to use because it had that rhythm. And not only did it have the rhythm, check it out. That could be my verse. This could be my pre-chorus. This could be my hook. And I thought this would be a great voice. So this song had all of the elements that I was looking for in creating a cool song. Oh, let me show you something else about songs, right? So I'm gonna go to songs once. I'm gonna come back to this, but let me go to songs real quick. Notice, again, there's tons of songs in here. I thought this was really cool, right? Notice you've got pop saxes and traditional songs, and it goes down, so on and so forth, right? You've got some Eric Clapton type songs down here, right? I just had this chuckle, though, because I found a James Brown song in here, right? So I found James Brown, and when I clicked on it, I was like, what? This is James Brown. Hey! I thought that was really something. Anyway, I know I digress for a second, but I'm just showing you how Band in the Box covers everything. And remember, these are songs and not styles. So let me go back again and get my contemporary country back. I need to get that again. So I'm gonna bring this crossover country back again. And again, I've got it all set up and I've got it ready to start working with it. So what do I need to do? Again, I decided that I'll start singing at bar 1 and go all the way through bar 8. I decided at bar 9, which was, so bar 9 through bar 16, I was going to use that as a pre-chorus. Bar 17 through bar 24, I was going to use, and bar 25 through bar 32 was going to be my bridge. I'm going to use that as my bridge. So that's what I did. So now I've got my structure, my basic structure of how I wanted to do the song. So now I need to set it up and make it, arrange it, right? So the first thing I need to do, which is what I always do, is I need to get rid of all these returns, these capos. I don't want them at all because I always do my songs long form, start to finish. Reason why is because I don't know where I'm going to go. So I decided, you know what, I get rid of those right off the bat. So I'm going to go here to chorus, and I'm going to set the choruses to 1. 1 chorus, and I'll just keep this. That's fine. So at 1 chorus, all I get is no returns, no capos. It's just one long song. Oh, it's pretty short because it's only 32 bars. But remember, that's because it's only like half or a quarter of a song. So I start there. The next thing I do is I always go to end, and I set my bars to between 80 and 100. In this case, I'm going to set my bars to 90. So I type in 90, and I set my bars to 90. I've got all this white space down here, but that's fine because I'm going to fill that up. So that's what I do when I put my songs together. I do this all the time. If I use any song from Band in a Box, this is exactly what I do. So now I need to arrange the song, put the song together. So I said, okay, I've got my verse, I've got my pre-chorus, I have my hook, and I have my bridge. What I'm not going to do, of course, is I'm not going to do the bridge this early in the song. So I click here, I right click, and I insert bars. And I'm going to insert like extra bars. So I'm going to insert like 32 bars right off the bat. So I'm going to insert 32 bars right off the bat. And that's going to push this bridge down further. So when I get ready to use it, I can just bring it up in my song. So I push that down. So now I've got my 32 bars of spaces here. I need to fill those in. So I'm going to go here to bar 1, which was my verse, and I'm going to take and I'm going to copy all the way through the hook, which verse, pre-chorus, and hook. I right click, I highlighted my right click, I go copy, and I'm going to go to bar 25, and I'm going to go paste. It's taking a second, but it's working. And I just pasted all of my songs in, but I just pasted the entire structure of my song, except for the bridge, into one long form song. So I've done that now. So again, I just start again after all of this is through the hook, bar 21 through 24 is through the hook. Bar 25 starts the second verse. What I found out is when I started writing the song is that I could not have the song end at bar 24 and then jump right into the second verse. That didn't work. So I said, okay, let me add an extra 4 bars in, as I'll just call it a transition phase in the song. So I go to bar 25, I right click, I insert 4 bars. So I inserted 4 bars, it gives me 4 blank bars. And I copied the last 4 bars of the hook. I did a copy, and I went back to bar 25, and I did a paste. And I pasted those in. And remember, that's my transition. So my transition goes through here, and then I go and I start singing in the second half of the song. What else that I need to do is now I've done that, I can do that now, and I need to bring my bridge up to where it's more ready to go. So remember, I went all the way through my second hook. My second hook ends at bar 52. I go here, I right click, I'm going to delete these 8 blank bars, and that's going to move the bridge up right under the second hook. Delete the 8 bars. I don't know why it does that, but it doesn't matter. I don't worry about it. All right, it's taking a little longer this time, but it does it anyway. And again, see, it brought now, so it just brought my bridge under the second hook. So what do I need to do now? I'm looking at how many bars I have. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the hook after the bridge, because a lot of times after you go to the bridge, you go right back to the hook. I'm going to do a copy. I did my 8-bar hook, and I'm going to paste it like 3 times. And what happened is that when I do that, then when I create the song and do my singing and all that kind of stuff, right, I can ad lib from the hook the rest of the way out. You know, depends on how I feel when I'm putting the song together. Or when I'm singing the song, I'm sorry. So I go here and I go paste, edit, and I go paste. And there it is. Now I go again, I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to do it again. And once I did that, the song was basically done. So I started from singing in the first verse. And I'm going to mute this guitar. Pre-chorus. Hook. Transition. I hate that. Yeah, I'm gonna slow that down. out of the bridge, going right to the hook, which fades out the rest of the song. So that's what I did. Now, what's missing? I don't have an intro. Usually with an intro, I will take the intro, I will take like the first 4 bars of the song and create an intro. But in this case, I said, no, I'm going to see what Band in a Box gives me for an intro. So I go up here to the very first bar, I do an insert, and I insert 4 blank bars. So I insert 4 blank bars right at the beginning of the song. Come on. Okay. Now, and the song is in the key of A. So now I want an intro, but I'm going to let Band in the Box create this intro for me. So I go to song form. I go to generate intro. I get a dialog window here that says chord types can be pop or jazz. In this case, I'm going to leave it as pop. 4 bars is what I want. And I'm going to just generate and see what it gives me. And notice it gives me different chords than what the song actually starts with. So I check it out, I play it. I like that a whole lot better already. Yes, that's much better. And I start singing. So that's basically the structure of the song. So I have done the entire song. I've done the intro, I've done the verse, I've done my pre-chorus, I've done my hook, I've done my bridge, I've done everything. The song was done. What I had to do is I also had to change the key when I did my own version of it, because when I started writing the lyrics out and singing the song, I found out that I couldn't sing that well in that key. I don't have a country voice, but I found out I could not sing that well in that particular key, and I changed the key. But for purposes of what we're doing here today, I'm going to leave it as it is. So now I've done the entire song musically speaking. Oh, wait a minute. No, I didn't. Because what I also did is I also said, okay, remember I told you I hated the banjo. Couldn't stand it. I wanted to add 3 more instruments. Not to say I would use them, but I would like them available to me. So it was important that I figure that out. I got a little chart here I can look at real quick instead of wasting your time. So I said, okay, I want an organ in here. So I'm going to go to Utility 1. I'm going to right click and I'm going to go select tracks. And I'm going to select a track, a real track, because I can always manipulate a real track. Matter of fact, I'm going to look at my window a little bit different. I'm going to go and I'm going to select a track and I'm going to select the best of all real tracks is what I'm going to do. And notice I have a window here, right? So I said, okay, I want an organ. I had already auditioned it previously, just so you know, so I don't want to waste you guys' time. So my organ that I picked was a B3, which was number 688. And here's my B3 right here. You can hear it. And I'll just generate it. And now I've got it. And you can hear it. So I've got my B3 organ in here. I also wanted an acoustic piano in here. I thought that would be nice to have an acoustic piano in here. Now, like I said, I don't know when I'm going to use it, and maybe I won't, but I wanted it as part of the song, as part of me building the song out, so I could figure out if I wanted something that it would be nice something to have in the song. So the piano I picked was 2024. So let me type that in, and it's going to give me 2024 acoustic piano, which is an acoustic piano, acoustic rhythm piano. It's a country piano, and I'm going to generate that. And that's nice. I like that piano that I put in. And the last thing is, remember I told you that I could lose that fuzz guitar because it's not a real track. It's an actual recording. So I wanted a guitar to replace that. Good old Brent Mason. So I went to Utility 3. I selected a real track. And I picked 2202, which is a electric soloist Brent Mason type fuzz guitar, and I generated that. And I think that's exactly what I don't know what I'm going to use it, but it's nice to have it. So now I've got three additional tracks in here. I've got an organ in here, I've got a piano in here, and I've got a guitar in here. Okay, I'm done with Band in a Box at this point. I don't need it anymore. Now it's time for me to get on. I had to get on and sing the song. Well, actually, I had to get on and write the song, you know. Had to write the song, then I had to sing the song and kind of tune it up. But I do all of that in BandLab, and the reason why is because, like I said, I think trying to sing inside a Band in the Box, I think it's just terrible. That's just me, you know. So I need to get this over into BandLab. How am I going to do that? I know people have trouble with it, but I'm going to use the DAW plugin. So I need to get an empty BandLab. Oh, my empty BandLab is here ready to go. First thing I need to do on my BandLab is I need to make sure my BPMs are the same as my Band in the Box track, and my BPMs in my Band in the Box track are 75. And the reason why that needs to match is because if I start cutting and pasting, the timing will be off if the BPMs are not exactly the same. So I have an empty BandLab. Now I go back to Band in the Box. I go to my DAW plugin. I hold my right thumb on the right control button on my keyboard and my index finger on the right up on my keyboard. Highlight the master. Take and just hold the mouse button down, my left mouse button down, and I just drag it over. Notice it turns into a plus sign, and I just drag it over into bar 1, and it's going to bring all of my tracks over from Band in the Box into my DAW. Now, like I said, I don't know. Some people say that doesn't work for them. I've had a lot of good success with doing this, to be honest with you. So I can't tell you why it may not work in your system. It works pretty well in mine. Very few times do I actually have any difficulties. But this is what I did. I brought the song over into BandLab from Band in the Box. I'm going to pause for a second while the tracks are coming over. You guys I don't need to waste your time in seeing you watch some tracks being processed and coming over. That's a waste of time. Okay, so now all of my tracks are over into BandLab from Band in the Box. So I don't need Band in the Box anymore. So I'm going to just hit the DAW button again. Hit this button here, and I'm just going to go ahead and close this out. I don't need it anymore. So I'm done with that. So now everything is over here in BandLab. And okay, so now I have a full patch of the song loaded out. So, you know, so you all can have a look at it. As you can see, I've got 17 tracks that I use in this song. I have 3 lead vocals in this song, and I do a lot of bussing. So I take my leads, I do a normal lead, I do a high lead, and I do a low lead, and I mix them together and send them over to a single bus, which is this bus here that's called lead LV or lead vocal. I take my background vocals, I put those in a bus. I take my music and I put that in a bus, and I take my drums, and I always bust my drums. And the reason why is because I've got a neat little plug-in from Cakewalk that helps me maneuver drums and makes drums a whole lot brighter. So I use that plug-in a lot on my drums. I'm a big hi-hat fan. I like the nice crisp hi-hat. So I do that. So what I did was, if you listen to my vocals, again, talking about the lead vocal, right, and I'll isolate it, and you can hear how it sounds with just that lead going. And again, I'm not going to play a lot of it just so because you can always listen to the song. There'll be a link at the end of this video where you can hear the entire song. So I did the song, and that's what it sounds like.
Breaking through the trees, a soft breeze blowing, carrying memories.
And as you can see, the vocal, it sounds pretty crisp. Don't pay attention to the verb because a lot of times verb is sucked up with the instrumentation. The background vocals that I use, which were typical for country does a lot of doubling on the lead or extra background vocals on the lead, which is a neat little trick. I like the way they do that because it gives a song nice flavor.
And every cloud that floats on by seems to paint your name.
So you got this harmony part single,
can't escape the
harmony single,
it's driving me insane. I hear
harmony single,
in the leaves, and I feel your touch.
And of course, I have this is the entire song playing.
Sunshine, the sky, got me thinking of you.
Notice that there's a guitar also in the background. It's kind of soloing, but it's actually playing a neat little counter melody, which I like.
Flood me like the morning dew. Sunshine, blue skies.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed trying to do some country, contemporary country, but still country. I got a big kick out of writing the song, got a big kick out of putting the song together. I don't know how, when I came up with this blue skies, sunshine, that's the first thing I thought of when I heard that actual hook in the song. And for me, it's easier to write a song from the hook down than it is to start out with a verse, because I feel like if you write a song from the hook down, you can take that song anywhere. You can make the song happy, sad, about love, about a dog. You can make it anything, right? If you start from the hook. Whereas I think if you start from the verse, sometimes you kind of lock yourself in. So that's the song. I'll play a little bit of it for you. I would rather, because I don't want, again, the video is long enough as it is, right? And you can hear the rest of the song by clicking, don't kick the song, by clicking on the link at the end of this video. So let me see if I might try to start it. I'll try to start it when I get close to the bridge, because I thought the bridge was kind of cool.
Brings me close to the past when my heart was sunshine.
Okay.
Blue skies got me thinking of you. Every time the day is bright, I feel you shining through. Memories floating like no morning dew.
Hear that still?
Sunshine, blue skies. They got me thinking, I'm sitting on the porch, good time in hand, strumming those familiar.
Okay, that's enough. Anyway, so what happened here is that, like I said, I wanted to do a country song. I found by going to Band in a Box, it helped me. I went to Band in a Box. I went to songs, not styles, but I went to songs. I demoed some songs, not with vocals, but just songs. And I found a contemporary country song in the song folder that I liked. It was 32 bars with repeats. I eliminated the repeats, arranged the song. I used a Band in a Box intro as the intro for the song. I changed the key. Sounds like a lot of work, doesn't it? I changed the key. I wrote the lyrics, and I sing the song. I hope you guys learned something from this lesson. It's a little long, but I hope you learned something from it. And one of the things you may learn from it is experiment, because like I said, I'm an old soul guy and I'm a hip hop EDM guy, but I thought it was nice to branch out a little bit and try to at least take a stab at a little bit of contemporary country.